All right, we're on, Dad.
Well, good. Good morning.
Good morning. How's that look, Ivy? We've got Ivy behind the camera today. Got a lot of people working at a different location.
We got a little project going on that's got us pretty busy right now.
Yeah. So Ivy's behind the camera. You can focus on Chippy too. Doesn't just have to be me.
You're doing a fine job, Ivy.
So like we said, I just wrote down in our show notes. I'm gonna say that's our show notes. Our little Facebook description of our live feed. This happens to me all the time, that I want to hang something and I don't have a stud exactly where I want to hang it. And that drives me crazy. There should be studs everywhere in my house. But there's not. So what do we do when there's no stud? We've got a drywall example here.
Right.
I'm hoping you'll talk about lath and plaster too, because that's what I have in my house, and I need help. But you're not going to talk about that. I didn't. I just threw that at you, didn't I?
Yeah. Well, we can talk about it, but there's not many good things we can say about it. Other than it's historically correct.
And I don't want to tear down all the walls in my house to put up sheetrock.
Right.
All right. So we've got a couple different options here, right?
Right. And this is probably one of the things in the store we get the most questions about, how to use hollow wall anchors. And when they're used properly, they do a good job. I'm sure a lot of people have seen or used the little plastic anchors.
Those come in a lot of different
Yeah,
kits. If you buy a shelf from a store, they'll send you that. And
right. And if you look at the directions should tell you what size hole to drill and what size screw is used in that anchor. Now these anchors are plastic. They're only rated for 15 pounds. So if you're hanging a small picture, that would probably work. And they're only intended for horizontal surfaces. They won't work in the ceiling.
because that'll just pop right out.
Yeah. So, and what you do to install this,
I'll hold this for you.
you just go ahead and drill your hole wherever you're going to want to hang whatever you're hanging. And this particular one calls for a 1/4 inch hole. So drill a 1/4 inch hole. Then all you do is take your thumb, press it into the hole, and then you might have to get a screwdriver or just something to bump it down flush.
Multi-purpose tool. This ends your hammer. This ends your screwdriver.
It's not intended to be a hammer. It was used to tap
Well,
Tap.
yeah. Okay, fine.
the anchor.
You didn't hammer it in. You tapped it in.
Once the anchor's in, whatever device you're going to hang, and I'm just going to use an example and pretend that we're going to hang, this is some type of a picture hanger, which it's actually not, but
Imagine that's 10 pounds.
you would put
You're
it through whatever you're going to hang, or if it's just going to be a picture hanger with a wire, just put the screw in.
Mommy!
But put the screw into the anchor.
Oh, sorry, Dad.
Lost my helper. Anyway, we're going
Sorry. Ivy said people were asking questions. She doesn't want to talk, so.
to put the screw in, and then all you do is turn it till it's snug. And then if you're going to hang a picture on there that has a picture hanger, you want to leave it away from the wall just a little bit so that you can actually hang the hook over it.
You got about a 1/4 inch from the screw head to the wall.
Right,
And
exactly.
can I show the back of the wall? Because this is something we hardly ever get to see when you're doing it at your house. Your walls are going to be closed. I don't know if you can see that blue. Do I need to get closer, Ivy?
No, it's mine. I'm close
Okay.
up.
She's zoomed in.
I'm
You can zoom
zoomed
back
in,
out so
whatever.
people don't
I
see
don't care.
that much of me. But yeah, when we're doing it at home, you don't get to see the inside of your wall too often.
Exactly.
Usually you don't want to see the inside of your wall. What else you got for us?
Well, the next type of anchor is called a toggle bolt.
I like those.
Those are, this particular one, and you can see how small a diameter it is, but this particular one is rated to hold 120 pounds.
You can hang a small person from that.
It looks like a triangle umbrella.
Yeah.
It does.
Or a
'Cause
butterfly.
When it goes through the drywall, you fold these wings in, and then after it goes through, and we'll show you the backside, they pop back open. And I just realized this particular one calls for a 5/16 hole. I didn't bring that bit with me, so I'm going to do the hardware guy thing and just ream my hole out a little bit when I put this one. Now with this, you have to remember to put whatever you're going to anchor on the screw first, because you can't push the toggle in, it'll fall down in the wall. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to fold this. I'm going to press it through the hole. It has to go all the way through, and then you can feel those little wings pop open.
That one didn't pop open.
It did.
And now it did. Sometimes it has to take a little work.
Mom.
You wiggle them around a little bit. Now all I'm doing is
Would you like
tightening
Austin to take over?
this screw up, and of course you have to hold a little pressure back
Yes.
this way.
So if you pull it while you're turning it, you'll get that pressure from the wings on the back side of the drywall. But if you're just trying to turn it without pulling it out, it's not going to go anywhere. You got to have a little bit of pressure on there. And like Dad said, you really have to make sure that you have whatever you're hanging on the wall already on that screw. So what you do, you already have it in the wall.
Already, yeah. So
Do you have an extra one?
No, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how that works by just putting this on here.
I was going to show them how to take off the wings. Because you got to take off those wings before you put it through whatever you're going to
Oh, sure. Yeah.
put in the wall, and then you attach the wings back on. And you got to be careful so that the wings are always, when they fold in, they're always facing the screw head. So you don't want the wings to be facing that way.
And you can see what happens after it goes through the drywall.
And then when you move, there will be a million of these down in the house that you left behind.
They'll
That's
fall
true.
down in the-
And then you'll have a ton of those really long screws with nothing to do with.
But remember, that one holds 120 pounds. Now,
You secured it properly.
this one's called a self-drilling anchor. This is probably one of my favorite for medium-duty jobs. It's really, really simple to use. It's made so a Phillips screwdriver will go right in the end. Are you holding the drywall, Rachel?
Got the drywall.
But anyway, it's designed to be.
I don't know if I got the cart though. I'll get it. There he goes again with that multi-use tool.
Yeah. Probably should have brought a hammer for this one because we can't hold the drywall very steady. There we
Oh,
go.
there you go.
Now it's ready. All I'm going to do now is just start turning.
What?
And that goes in nice and flush. It's designed to take an 8 to a 10 screw. This is a number 8 by 3/4. Go ahead and turn that in. And that little device will hold 50 pounds.
Awesome.
And you can turn that around and
So-
show it what it looks like in the back.
Austin, can you come over here? I wanted to point out he pushed in, or he didn't hammer, he tapped in this part until it was up to the, what are those called? The threads?
Threads.
Yeah, there you go. Took me a while. He pushed in this plastic piece until it hit the threads. So once you hit those threads, it'll go in by itself. But until then, it's not going in
Yeah.
without a little tap.
It's a little self-piercing point on there. This one is fairly new to us. It's one I've never tried before, but it's called a wall dog. And this wall dog will support 50 pounds. And it's made, this particular one is made with a shoulder on it, so a picture hanging wire will go over that shoulder. And you just hang the wire over that. I'm going to show you how easy this one goes in.
That's a big picture frame, I guess.
Or a mirror.
Mirror, maybe.
Thank you, Rachel.
Next time, let's get a table without wheels. That's the box that the wall dogs came in.
It's already penetrated the paper of the drywall, and now it's just feeding itself right on in,
Let's get
and
them.
you can feel it get snug. I'm putting a fair amount of torque,
You can see his
On the-
muscles working if you zoom out.
and if you want to show the back of that, that's well,
That one doesn't go in too far.
no,
Oh, you took the toggle bolt out.
yes, I did.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay. Ignore me.
But what I'm doing now, Austin just handed me a brand new item we picked up at the last hardware show. This is the first time I've had my hands on one of these, and
I'm just a mess. I'm sorry. I'm afraid that this thing's gonna fall over again.
This is totally unrehearsed. It is live, so
We're
anything
always
could happen.
unrehearsed. Let's be honest with people. Do you need a hammer for that one?
What is it, Randy? What's it called?
This is called the High and Mighty, and it's a tool-free wall hanger.
So I guess you don't need a hammer.
Tool-free is what it says. Like I said, this is my first experience with one. It's labeled to handle 40 pounds. I'm supposed to be able just to push this into the drywall and make it work. So, oh yeah, much easier than I thought.
Not super flush, but for
And
hanging
I didn't
something.
put it in very straight, but we'll do another one.
Well, you know.
We're going to get these out on this shelf today, but I can see where these will be real popular.
What would?
That's better.
They were hanging cinder blocks from those at the show, Randy.
Right, I remember that.
Well, it says for 40 pounds.
Yeah.
Now I have a question. You told us the weight that each one of these can handle.
Right.
Is that the singular weight? If you put something 150 pounds on your toggle bolt, is it gonna tear out of the wall?
150 pounds would tear out of the wall with a 120-pound toggle bolt.
Well, yes, that would. That would do it. But you can hang one thing that's that weight rating on that one.
Right.
One.
And it's always better if you've got, my recommendation would be, if you've got an item that's going to weigh 120 pounds, I would put 2 in, and then you would lighten that load on each toggle by half.
Okay.
So that would,
But theoretically, you could hang 240 pounds on 2 toggle bolts.
I wouldn't go that far.
Oh, okay. So,
The High and Mighties also have coat racks and hat hangers and a lot more than just picture hangers, right,
Sure,
Randy?
They do, and like I said, we'll have that display up and built today. It's a nice looking line of hardware.
so we got more than just picture hangers?
We do.
And the
there's
cart
all
right
kinds
there.
of like little rope hooks.
Sweet.
A whole cart of product over there.
Yeah,
Yeah,
buddy.
that's not very pretty. Don't show people that. They don't want to see your cart undisplayed items.
But anyway, that's
It's a mystery.
That's a basic presentation of what I would call homeowner accessible, applicable uses for these hollow wall anchors. I didn't get into all the contractor grade stuff, the drive pins, the lag screws, the wedge bolts, but we've got a really nice working display in the fastener aisle that explains how all that works. I am going to show you one thing. I'm going to show you how a TAPCON works. A lot of homeowners are not that familiar with TAPCON.
I've got the drywall.
I'm going to move it.
Oh,
Forget
okay.
the cinder block.
You're going to use the cinder block?
When we recommend a TAPCON, a lot of times people look at us like, what is a TAPCON? Well,
It sounds like some sort of convention.
TAPCON is nothing more than a screw that's specially made to be used in concrete. The secret to a TAPCON is you have to drill exactly the right size hole. This one calls for a 5/32. You have to use a masonry bit, and the hole has to be at least as deep as the screw is long. Because if it bottoms out, if the hole's not deep enough, then it strips the material away and it's useless. It won't hold.
So, are cinder blocks considered a hollow wall?
In this
They're
case,
hollow?
you just landed on it.
It's better than fingers.
Yeah, there you can see a cinder block is tilted up.
It's definitely
It's got
hollow.
a web in the middle, but it's hollow everywhere else, unless that wall had been poured full of concrete, like a foundation wall.
So
Either way, the TAPCON will still work. It'll
Okay.
work in the solid wall. I've already pre-drilled my hole. I did it on the hollow side. I could have just as easily done it here on the web, and the results would be the same. So what we're going to do now is we're just going to drive this TAPCON right into the concrete, and there's no anchor, nothing. These are ideal for handrails. If you're attaching a stud to a block wall, they're really good, and I like using them.
So when you come and do my basement, you'll use those.
We will probably use them. And that's tight right now.
Sweet. And they come, I know we have some at home that are pretty long for when we put things down in the basement.
Right, and that TAPCON is rated for 190 pounds.
And that's a wee tiny thing.
That was the small one. Yep, that was a 3/16 TAPCON.
Don't look at the baby making messes over there, Austin. Don't. I know the camera's over here, but Austin's eyes are over there.
So I hope that is helpful to you folks out there, that this is the time of the year when you want to do some decorating in your house, you want to do some painting. It's the time to hang up some of those new items you got at Christmas time, the pictures, the crafts, or whatever you might have.
You want to hang all of your Crafter Hours items?
Yeah, and boy, it looks like we got a good Crafter Hours coming up with
Yeah.
that Scrabble
Wall hanging.
wall hanging.
Yeah, it looks awesome. I'm super impressed with the things Thea is coming up with. The next one is, I'm not sure of the dates of it. I never checked that out. But it's this beautiful, they're about that big Scrabble tile, pieces of wood to look like Scrabble tile, and they hang one from another and spell out love. So it's for Valentine's Day. It's for a lovely decoration in your home. If you need to hang it up, you got all the stuff in your house to hang it.
And I saw some of the pictures that was posted at the last Crafter Hours here, and actually I got a lot of comments from some of the folks that were here that thank us for doing it, and they said they really had a good time. So
Yeah. Well, we always have a good time when we're here.
I hope it
After
continues.
hours.
Yeah.
There was one question on the feed there, Austin, at the very beginning. I think it was Mr. Jeremy asked a question.
Said, let's see, Johnny asked,
sorry.
Mr. Randy, when did you open the store in Timberville?
We opened this store in 2001 on July the 20th, which was my birthday.
So we're coming up on how many years?
17, 18 years.
Let's do some math. 17 years. That would be awesome. Well, we appreciate you all tuning in again this morning, watching all the drilling happening. We hope we can help you out with any of your home projects, and if you have any questions,
We don't mind your questions. We don't mind them at all.
we're getting good at this.